All right, Yo fans, welcome back to this week of the Steel Show. Super excited to have the guy to my right here with us. One of the best athletes on the team and a very productive receiver for the Yotes. Brock Richardson, older brother Connor Richardson played here as well, so he's continuing on the Richardson legacy. We'll jump right into it, man. Obviously, the Montana Tech game. Anybody who was at the game was one of the best games in Simplot history, and just nuts all the way around. So, what was it like being in that game? Being in the locker room at halftime, being down, and then you guys being able to come back and win in dramatic fashion. What was that like?
Right. First of all, it was an awesome atmosphere to have that many fans out there and that many people in the beer garden,
Oh yeah.
supporting us. It was really awesome. I'd say going into halftime, being down 14-0. In my mind, I was like, well, we never really play that well in the first half, anyways. So we usually come out and respond. So as an offense, we were just like trying to stay up and whatnot, but we knew what we had to do, and I think we really responded when we first came out in that first half when we scored on those first two drives. So I think it was just awesome.
Was that an adjustment thing, or was it more just let's execute what we do well better?
Right. It was exactly that. It was we're not going to change much up. We're going to do what we do. We left some plays out there in the first half, obviously. In the second half, we came out and we made those plays, so we were able to march down the field.
Absolutely awesome. And for the Yotes fans, they didn't get to see much of you last year. A little bit of a freak accident type injury. So unfortunately, we're out most of the year last year. So how does it feel to be just back in the fold, making a bunch of plays, making the impact that you're really capable of making?
Right. It feels awesome. I've always felt really confident that I can make an impact, especially after my freshman year of being here. I got to back up my older brother, and I came in, and I feel like I did good things, and I was really excited for last year, and then I ended up getting injured, which is hard, but the whole recovery was kind of. I talked to my brother a lot about it, and he's like, it's just more fuel to the fire that's gonna guide you to help you be successful. So I think being in the off season, just focus on learning more of the offense, learning what we like to, or what we really want to do on offense in certain situations. So I really think that really helped me out and be successful.
Good.
On offense. So.
I love that. So, one guy that's been a big add for C of I this year, and specifically at receiver, is John Schofield, transfer guy. He's been very productive, and so. Can you talk a little bit about what he's brought to the offense and how big it's been to add him into the fold this year?
Right. I think he's an excellent player. I mean, he's probably the most versatile player we have, especially at receiver, because he played running back in high school, so he's already got a knack for carrying the ball and running through guys. And he's very, very strong in the weight room. He's a beast. So he'll move. He can block and move guys and whatnot. Stuff that I try to be better at just because I'm a smaller body. But he brings that receiver blocking and
a little
ability.
Bit of toughness to the receiver room.
Yeah. Oh yeah, ability to get outside and run fly sweep and bubbles and whatnot. So, and we got a package for him running wildcat with him running. Goal line stuff. So
and that's been huge the last couple of weeks. Carroll and the Tech game.
It's been like 100% success touchdown rate. So he's just brought a lot for sure. And yet again, he's excellent in the pass game. He's had at least a 100-yard game against, I believe, is Rocky Mountain. And he's just an excellent player that it was awesome to get him here. So
awesome. Yeah, great. Well, lastly, looking ahead to the Montana Western game this week, always a challenge up in Dillon. They haven't lost very many home games in the last 10 years, to be honest with you, and they always just have a challenge up there. So, what specifically does their defense do well that's a challenge this week?
I think I've heard their secondary has had some struggles, first of all, but I believe that their box play is not too bad, but I know we're really known for running the ball well in situations. And I guess I haven't really been updated too much on, what we're really looking for, because we're about to go over that this week and today
get
a lot.
In the film,
So I don't really know too much about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and always a physical team up there, right? They're going to come out and hit you. So anyway, well, great. Well, Yotes fans, tune in this Saturday at Dillon, Montana. Watch this guy continue to make plays. And Brock, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, Yo fans, next up in the player spotlight here is a guy that you all know, Dorian Harden, number 3 on the defense. Guy's been a stud for the Yotes since he was a freshman in 2019 and continues to make plays for us. So, first we'll start with the last game, Montana Tech. Like we were talking to Brock about, you know, guys are down at halftime. You're able to respond and just win in crazy dramatic fashion in front of a huge crowd. And so, you know, what was that like as a player to be in that game and be able to come out on top?
I mean, just being here, I've been in a few of them.
Yeah.
So for me, I was pretty calm. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I've been through this. I know what we got to do. But I think just for the rest of the team as a whole, it was just a confidence booster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can come back, especially with, you know, Tech. They're one of the top teams in the conference and also probably in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, definitely a ranked team. So it was a confidence booster, and then also knowing, okay, if we have what it takes to come back down, especially, you know, in a game like that, you know, a homecoming, it's a big game,
Mm-hmm.
down 14-0. It's like, okay, may seem like everything's just going to fall apart, but for us, it was definitely a confidence booster.
Yeah. And you guys were able to obviously get some more stops on defense coming out of the locker room, right? And kind of start to shut things down, especially in that third quarter, which was huge to be able to get back in the game. So, you know, was it more of an adjustment thing, or was it more just, hey, we got to execute a few things that we already do, but we just got to execute a little better?
It's a little bit of both. There's definitely plays where we were in the position to make them, we just didn't make them.
Yep.
And you know, as a defense, you got to make those type of plays, and one play can change the whole game. I made some plays that I should have made, and then also just other guys on the team, and then also, you know, just making adjustments. We made a few adjustments. I started guarding number 6
Yep.
the rest of the game, just to eliminate that, and then everybody else could just play what they needed to play.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. Well, you know, you're the vet of the group in the defensive back room. So I want to ask, you know, kind of how proud you are of some of the younger guys or newer guys like a Keegan Rateau that's been able to step up for you guys this year. How proud are you of that younger group? Because coming into the season, you know, that was a position group where you got a lot of new guys in the fold, you know?
Yeah, I'm tremendously proud, honestly, because coming in, you know, it was like they had to pick up, you know, actually get up to speed very quickly, especially to be at a championship team like we know we can be. From last year and then even previous years. And so they had big shoes to fill, but even going into the week, the guys were getting extra film sessions, knowing that, okay, their time may come. You know, we've had some injuries in the DB room lately, so guys have had to step up. And that's been the big part, you know, Keegan stepping up, Isaiah Griffin stepping up, Kai. So they all had tremendous plays, big-time plays, you know, in that game.
Awesome. And, you know, you've been here a while, like we talked about. So where do you feel like you've grown since, you know, 2019 when you came in? You know, where are some of the one or two areas that you feel like you've taken a real step?
I think for me, it's been just discipline-wise and staying on top of my game, because it can get easy sometimes, but I have to also, you know, just be aware that, okay, those are the moments when you actually have to stay locked in, because that's when they can get you. And you know, sometimes it can show on the tape. You know, it's like, okay, I'm just not as locked in as I need to be, and they can complete something when I know for sure I can definitely guard it. So definitely that, and then also just being more of a vocal leader and talking more. You know, I'm usually the quiet guy, just lead by example, do what I got to do on the field, but making sure everybody else is on the same page as I am.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And you know, lastly, looking ahead to that Montana Western game, always a tough game at Montana Western and Dillon, and certainly they got a heck of a quarterback in John Jund, one of the best offensive players in the league. So, you know, what kind of challenge do they bring as far as on offense?
He's definitely a big one. You know, they torched us last year, put up like over 400 yards or something like that, and the defense, not our best game at all. And so, you know, he's a bruiser. He likes to run. He likes to make plays on his feet. And so that's the big thing that we're worrying about right now, make sure we can keep him contained. And then DBs just do what we got to do, you know, with the receivers.
Awesome. Well, Yotes fans, just like B. Rich, you guys tune in October 22nd. Watch this guy keep making plays, and we'll see you next time, man. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. All right, Yotes fans, really excited about this one. This is a guy we haven't been able to talk to yet since he came in the fold here at C of I. Andy Peters, quarterback transfer out of Boise State. Obviously been doing a great job leading this offense and leading this team. So, you know, we'll jump right into it. Andy, you're a Boise guy, local guy. Love that you're a Timberline guy. I grew up in Southeast Boise myself, so both my brothers went to Timberline. But, you know, how has it been? You know, you're obviously a new guy in the fold, transfer, like we said, from Boise State. How has it been playing at C of I so far? What's your experience been? How much fun you having out here?
So much fun. I mean, I left Boise State to come play the game that I love, and I've got the opportunity here, and I'm loving every second of it. The team is something so special, and these guys are some of the hardest workers I've ever met in my life, and so I love being out here, and I have no regrets about my move or anything.
Awesome. Yeah, and you know, what was it? You know, we'll go back to that Tech win, and I've talked to a couple other guys about it. Crazy game. We've had a lot of crazy games against them in the past. Homecoming, big crowd, all right, which is awesome to get at this level, but big crowd, and then you guys are obviously struggle in the first half, come out of the locker room, you know, play really well. So, you know, what was it like being in that game and being able to win in dramatic fashion?
I think it's good for our team long term because it just shows that we are really resilient and that we can do it and we can hang with anyone. Like you said, coming out of the locker room at halftime, there were definitely some adjustments that had to be made. First half, we were struggling on offense, just kind of out of our rhythm. Coach Morawski kind of, said something to me at halftime, and it made me definitely have to lock in and be like, all right, we gotta make some plays, and like I said, these guys are hardworking guys, and we are super resilient, and so I feel like we came out and we just crushed it.
Yeah. So take me through real quick. Especially those last couple drives, right? Tech goes down and scores.
Yep.
Defense does a good job holding them off in the third quarter, lets us get back in the game. Then they score. You guys hit the big play to Brock Richardson, which looked like, maybe a little bit of a busted coverage, but it was great by you guys to make him pay for that. And then obviously the last drive to go down and do what you did there to put one in the end zone. Take us through the last couple drives and kind of what was going through your head and maybe what was your guys' emphasis as an offense to be able to put the ball in the end zone a couple times there.
Yeah, so, after they scored, we knew we had to come out and put a drive together. We didn't know that it was going to be a one-play deep shot, 75 yards. But we knew we had to do something, and after we did that and they got the ball back, they put the pressure on us, and what we kept saying in the offensive huddle, and it sounds so funny, is we just kept saying power of belief. Power of belief every time we huddled up, power of belief every time we got on the sideline talking to each other, and we knew we were going to go out and win it, and that was a major thought process of mine on the sideline was like, I hate losing. I hate it so much. I'll do anything that I can in my power to make sure that I don't lose this game.
Yep.
And, when everybody rallies behind that,
I love it.
I feel like unstoppable.
Yeah, so what were your thoughts? Obviously, a very successful play call, but, I'm sure everybody in the stands wasn't expecting us to kind of run power up the middle in that situation, right? And so, what was your thoughts? Were you one of the guys that were like, hey, they're giving us this look? Because I know they were kind of, 3 down front. There was some. It was a favorable run box, right? And there was some room in front of the guards. So, kind of, what was going through your head when that play call was made?
What's so funny is they signaled it, and I was like, "What?"
Didn't expect that.
I didn't expect that at all. But I was like, "Okay, let's go make a play."
Yep.
And hindsight's 20/20, and I'm glad that I gave the ball. But when they played it the way they played it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can pull this and run myself." But then I was like, "All right, let's let Hunter go run it in," and he ran it in, and I was like,
amazing.
Oh my gosh, we did it! Like you said, I did not expect a run play to be called at all, and I don't think they did either.
Nope.
When they have 5 in the box for a 6-man run, generally we like our odds, and especially with Hunter running the ball, we knew we were going to be okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So, lastly, just kind of moving ahead to next week, big game on the road.
Yep.
Obviously, your guys newer to the program. Western is always very tough in Dillon. They have not lost very many games at home, even over the last 10 years. And so, you've obviously started to dive into the film, especially as a quarterback. What do you see from Western, especially on defense, that might present a challenge?
Like you said, they're just a tough team. They know how to fly around, and they're disciplined. They're a good team. Their backs are kind of up against the wall, and those are some of the most dangerous teams because they can, come out and get you. So we just got to do what we do really well and be more disciplined than they are.
Yes, sir.
And like I said, I think they're a good defense.
Yeah. Gonna have to go out there and execute.
Absolutely.
So great. Well, fans, keep tuning in, watching this guy October 22nd at Western. Obviously, we're really happy to have this guy here, and so appreciative of him being a part of the program now, and we appreciate you guys. Thanks, man.
Yep. Thank you.
Awesome.
Go Yotes.
Okay. All right, Yo fans, back with another week talking to Coach Mike Morawski. You just heard kind of some of the player spotlights, and really excited to talk to those guys. But Coach, take us back to the Montana Tech game. Obviously a crazy game. You guys win in dramatic fashion. So, how proud of the team were you to, not only respond out of the locker room in the third quarter, but then, dealing with some adversity into the game and having to go on a couple drives and you find a way to win. So how proud of the team were you there?
Well, it was fantastic, and maybe the best win ever, you know, and there's no sense in really comparing this game with Southern in 2016 or whatever you're looking at. But for the present day and the present moment, it was just fantastic. I think Montana Tech's as good a team as we played all year. And just so proud of the no panic. We talked about that a little bit at halftime, but you're playing good teams. Things are gonna happen like that. They aren't always gonna go your way. But at some point, you have to, enforce your will upon the other team. So we needed to figure out a way to run the ball, to move the ball, They were holding on to the ball as well,
Yep.
a couple of long drives at the beginning of the game. They presented some problems with number 6, and I think their quarterback is playing at a very high level.
Yes.
They're big on both lines, and so it was a physical challenge, every snap it seemed like. So couldn't be more proud of everything, the crowd, the response of the players emotionally and mentally. It's a emotional game.
Very.
It's a mental, emotional, and then very, very physical. So it was really satisfying to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've asked some of the other guys this. Coming out of the locker room, for you guys as coaches, was it adjustment based, or was it more just, hey, we got to execute what we do better, and we don't really have to change much. We just got to go out there and execute at a higher level.
Well, I think there was two parts to that answer. I think we made some major adjustments in the second half, defensively especially.
Yep.
And I don't know if Dorian said, but we matched him on number 6. So that was the big adjustment. And then I think what that does is it allows the other 10 guys on defense to just focus in on their jobs, and know that Dorian's going to be just fine against anybody in the country. And it bore out that way. I think he got an interference penalty. Other than that, we kept 6 under wraps for the most part, including their final little shot in the end zone, which was a good route and good throw and a picture perfect textbook play by Dorian.
Yep.
But it allowed us to just do our job. On offense, I think it was get to our very best plays, all things that we had scripted in the first 15, and the old do your job, but do your job a little bit better.
Yep.
Meaning,
Gotta make a
and
play.
the thing there is that, Brock, is that we got great guys, but sometimes when you have great guys and really good players, they try to do too much. Meaning they're out of their realm. They're trying to do somebody else's job. They're trying to make a great play. And really it comes down to, nope, just do your job. Let the plays come to you.
Yep.
Let the plays come to you. Now it's the play caller's job to get the ball into the hands of people, and the one semi-broken play, the big touchdown to Brock Richardson, Andy just saw him. They blew the coverage, and 2 guys took the out. No one took the deep go, which happens. That's all.
Identify,
All
make a
plays
play.
are designed to make the defense struggle a little bit, but it just works out sometimes. That's the way football is sometimes, where it takes you a while to get going. But I thought we played great up front on both sides of the ball, which so often it's almost cliche that if you win in the trenches,
You're gonna be
I
fine.
would say you're going to have a chance to win the game.
Absolutely.
And that was for sure the case on Saturday against a very, very good Montana Tech team.
Yes, sir. And so, talking about a little bit of that slow start, you guys have gotten off to some slow starts, even kind of dating back to the first game of the year against Northern offensively, right? And so, what do the Yotes need to do to get going a little bit earlier? Is it a scheme thing? Is it just a mentality thing? What does that look like to get a little bit faster start?
Great question. I'll address the team and say we've got to be sharper coming out of the box. So I don't know what it is. We'll address how we warm up and all that sort of thing. But the truth is, we've had a couple of games. Rocky Mountain comes to mind, where we went right down the field 2 consecutive drives. However, sometimes on the road, you get a little bit more focus and all that sort of thing. And I think young guys are human, and there's a sense of it. And I think they know that we're pretty good.
Yeah.
But what you don't always get is that other team over there is pretty good too. And they're looking at film, and they got very good coaches. So I think it was a mixture of things. I think we were maybe not as sharp as we could have been, but also hats off to Montana Tech.
Of
They
course.
did a great job.
Of
And
course.
I think Andy would admit too that he wasn't at his sharpest, but sometimes it's just hard.
Yeah, it's sports.
Everybody watched Patrick Mahomes last night. All of a sudden he's struggling. It's like, is this the same Patrick Mahomes I saw, last year in the championship game, and it's, but that's football.
Yep.
The key is that you respond.
Yep.
Not so much flick the switch, because if that was the issue, then I would have, and the coaching staff and the team would have bigger issues. So I don't think it's that. I think it's little things. How do we get a little bit sharper? How do we get a little bit more detailed? how do we get to our best stuff a little bit earlier?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And lastly, on the Tech game, that was an awesome crowd, a great atmosphere for homecoming. I told you before this that I thought right at the end of the game when Tech was on offense, that was one of the loudest I've heard the stadium. And so, what does that mean to you specifically as the head coach and just the team to have such a great atmosphere like that for homecoming?
Well, it's something, I've dreamed about since the day I took the job.
Yeah.
And we have had some very good crowds, but I think people love the Yotes
Yeah,
too.
they do.
So that makes me very, very proud. I think it's a very, very entertaining brand of football, and right up there with Alabama, Tennessee.
Totally.
When you're there,
Yep.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like everything.
Edge
And
of your seat.
these guys are great guys, and who are going to be young professionals, but to them, it's the most important game on the face of the earth that day. And I think our fans are smart. I really do.
Yeah.
And then on a beautiful day, the beer gardens bubbling over, and the fans. It was great. So that's what I live for, to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest with
Yeah.
you, is that sort of atmosphere, the community, the alumni, everybody pulling together.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just really, really fun. And when we broke that last run, I looked over and saw Regan and
Oh my God,
Austin
yeah.
Bastrachia jumping up in the air
Yeah.
and thinking, man, that's everybody's,
Yeah. Yeah.
right there,
Yeah. Yeah.
right on the edge. And that's what great competition does,
Yep.
and so, I told the team too, true competition, Bill Walsh used to say, is when you got two evenly matched teams, then you see what happens. And I think that's another thing that made that game so special.
Yeah.
And I think the fans sensed that even too,
Totally.
that, hey, this is nip and tuck.
Yeah.
We aren't rolling over anybody here.
Absolutely.
It's
I
a
think the
matter of-
fans walk away just with nothing but respect for Montana Tech, obviously through the years, but certainly this team just walking
Right.
away going, that's a great football team on the other side
Yeah,
over there.
yeah. I was thinking the last 4 years for Montana Tech,
We just talked about
walk
it.
off overtime, 57-yard field goal last year.
Yeah.
Keegan scoop and score, and then this year. But
All games.
we
that they
love
had
to
to-
win.
Yeah,
We love to
that's-
win.
That's all that
and,
matters.
and to win, a great call by Coach Brian Taylor. I know
Yeah.
you're a big fan of his and played for him, and he's just a great young coach. And we had him. They went 2-man, and that's exactly what you hope they don't call.
Yeah.
And so he called it. We blocked it perfectly. The line knew exactly what they were doing, and Hunter Gilbert is tough to bring down with an arm
I
tackle.
was going to say, breaks an arm tackle and goes.
Yeah,
right.
so that was awesome. But the safeties weren't even in the picture. I mean, so that's how incredible it was. But a great call, great drive, by the way. I think
Very good.
we ran 8 plays in 1 minute and 11 seconds to get
Yep.
down to that
Yep.
point. So Andy made a couple of spectacular plays.
Absolutely.
So he really showed his mettle, and what a, I mean, I still think we haven't seen his best football yet, but I think he's playing great, and that was a great signature game for him. I think that
Yes, sir.
second half.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Well, moving right ahead to Western, you guys are coming off the bye, and this is a big game coming up this week. So, Western is always very tough in Dillon. They just don't lose very many games at home. So, why is it so tough to play them on the road, and why do they present such a challenge when they're at home?
Well, remember, I was just thinking back, our first few years we went up there, we weren't sure how to travel there. And,
Yeah.
and so we finally have figured that out and the only thing in travel, there's nothing magical about the travel, and it's not going to win you or lose you the game, but we want to put ourselves in the best possible position to, have the right amount of food, get the right amount of sleep,
Yes, sir.
have some good meetings and all that sort of thing. And then it becomes, it's coaches making decisions and adjustments, and players making decisions and adjustments, and playing football. And so the last number of years we've gone up there, and because I think the first 4 years we did not win up
Nope.
there, and so we were 0-4. So it's just tough. Natural grass. It's going to be rainy again, we think, and it's usually windy, and so you just never know. But at some point you have to be mature enough to, hey, we're going to get there. Everything's going to be dialed in, and we just have to make more plays than they do.
Absolutely.
And they're a very, very tough edge football team. I mean, they are physical. John Junn might be the best player in the country.
Yeah.
And so they're just tough to beat, namely because they got a really good team.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're
Good
very
program.
well coached.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we have the utmost respect for them, and This year they've lost a couple games that I've been a little, frankly, surprised by, but I think their backs against the wall, and they'll be more than ready.
Dangerous
I think they mark off the Yotes and think we got to beat the Yotes if we're going to win the championship.
Absolutely. So, lastly, just kind of regarding Western and John Jund, like you said, right, he's probably one of the best offensive players certainly in this league. Presents a challenge both running the ball and passing the ball. So how do the Yotes corral him coming this Saturday?
And I'm not sure we will corral him, but that's a good word in the sense that we're not going to be able to tie him up and hold him down completely. He's too good for that. He's got good weapons. They also have a great running back duo. They're pretty darn good up front. They got a very good tight end. They're just very, very dangerous on offense. I think the one thing we have to do is we have to drive the ball on offense.
Yep.
So it's going to become a real team game, but. Mr. Jund himself, gosh, I don't know how long he's been there, but it seems like it's been the whole decade that I've been here. But he is a dual threat. I mean, he's a lot like a Patrick Mahomes type player at our level. He's a gunslinger and not afraid and loves to play. I mean, I have the greatest admiration for the guy. So we got our hands full against him. So you can stop, you can cover everybody, and then he's gonna find a way to run. They'll run him off tackle, and he's almost like another running back. So he's so we have to tackle him. We have to not let him extend plays.
Yeah.
He's got a hugely strong arm where he can throw the ball deep down the field. So hopefully we can tip a couple balls and disorient him a little bit.
Yeah.
I do like our speed on defense. So that's going to come into play, I think. But we got our hands full, and it'll be a great football game.
Awesome. Well, Yotes fans, like I said, tune in to the Yotes this October 22nd at Montana Western. Huge game for the Yotes. Try to keep the streak going. And, Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you, dude.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.